Welcome back, everybody, to Quake Pro League. The Fresh Prince of Persia here alongside, well, Dan, I guess. Yeah, we had two series.
The best you could come up with.
Your turtleneck is so good. Somebody in chat was like, he looks like just a heartbroken artist. And I was like, sing us some poetry. Do you sing poetry? Read it, whatever. Series number 3 is going to be dramiS versus cypher, another one of our international battles. And Dan, I think this one's going to be fantastic because dramiS has been performing better and better ever since his injury and his return long, long ago.
Yeah, he's definitely an enigma who can upset pretty much anyone on his day, and so I don't really know what to expect. Again, it's just one of those situations where coming into this we have zero idea on the context of how people are performing. So it could be that dramiS comes in here and shows everyone he's the GOAT. Who knows? But he's also going to be ruining the day that Molten Force was removed from the pool a little bit. So we'll see how he adjusts to this new dynamic of maps.
And why don't we just jump right into the picks and bans and see what we have in store here. So, starting off on Vale, I love to see Keel. First Keel pick of the season, Chef's Kiss. Keel versus Sorlag, it's going to get thick on Vale. And then we have Athena versus Anarchy on Blood Covenant. And then finally rounding it off with Visor versus Ranger on Insomnia. So we are going to see that again. But talk to me a little bit about cypher, Dan. How do you feel about cypher? I mean, I know, again, first game of the season for these gentlemen. But in terms of previous performances, what did you like? What did you didn't like? What do you want to see out of cypher this set?
I mean, he's cypher. As long as he turns up and plays the way he can, he's an artist in Quake. You know, like the same way I would classify him the same way like Federer is for tennis. He's somebody that just redefines how it should be played and how it should be watched. And even though he might not have the most amount of championships relative to a Djokovic or a Nadal, he's just a joy to watch, and that's the kind of same ballpark I put cypher in. And I don't think he's ever truly got to the same heights in Quake Champions that we've seen in previous Quakes. I don't think his style necessarily fits in Quake Champions perfectly, but when he's on his day, he just reads the game and makes it look so easy.
It's just very intuitive. He's said before where he just times on feeling, and he just kind of plays off feel, and he just does such immaculate things. If you haven't seen the Frag movies, then you're missing out. But in terms of this matchup right here between these two, break it down. What do you like? What don't you like in terms of pick bans on these maps?
The only thing I really don't like a lot is the Visor on Insomnia. I like the Ranger a lot. We saw it out of Razy before. It gives a lot more utility. Similar to what I spoke about before with the Osprey encounter, I just think the Visor leaves you so open to the vulnerability of pushes. The pissing sight is good. We'll have to see how good it is on Insomnia. Having watched the previous game with the two at the start, it's definitely good, but not as good as it could be. The rest of it, I think, is pretty good across the board. The Keel is nice on Vale. Sorlag is a great pick as well. So they both have a lot of good stack to work with there. Blood Covenant again, we see Athena, which is great from a dramiS point of view, and if he can play his style on that, he's got a lot of flair. But the Anarchy's, it used to be the strongest pick on this map, and so cypher will feel more than comfortable playing that out there. And then, as I said just now, I'm not entirely confident on the Visor there, so we'll have to see how that one works. I would favor the Ranger.
Do you think it's going to go all three for the decider of the series, or do you think this one's going to be summed up in the first two maps, Dan?
One would expect cypher to walk away with this as a 2-0 to start it off. The picks don't really favor one way or the other. It depends. It really, at this point, it depends who plays better. I slightly favor cypher's picks because I think they're easier to execute and you've got slightly more of a ceiling, particularly the Keel versus the Sorlag. Sorlag has the same stack, but it's faster and has air control and just works really nicely on Vale. So I would favor cypher.
I mean, at the end of the day, it is cypher. Predictions coming in 71% say cypher, so dramiS a bit of the underdog. And if I'm not mistaken, I think dramiS actually took out Wenger at Iron Fist. I don't remember, but dramiS has been beating better and better players. He's been showing that he could flex internationally. This is going to be a test for the boy. We'll see if he could do it. Might have to get him an ice cold Pepsi if he can. I think it's going to be a big, big start to the season if he could somehow take down cypher. But as you said, cypher is cypher. Chat has spoken as well, so I'm just looking forward to getting into it. And we're going to kick it off on Vale here shortly. As you said, Ranger versus Sorlag. Excuse me, Ranger versus, Keel versus Sorlag. Right, I got that. Can we get into the game? Thank God. All right, so we're going to be live here on map number 1. Whew, it's been a long day. What time is it?
I'm just going to carry on contemplating the meaning of life.
Ooh, look at that skin. You gotta love that rocket launcher skin.
Noise drives me insane.
Me or the rocket launcher? Anyways, 0-0 here. Ooh, there's a bit of a skirmish here, but big damage there. dramiS trying to get a little more.
It's a great camera position dramiS has got going on as well.
Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic here. The rockets into the acid spit. The pineapple not landing. Good LG from cypher. But now he's stuck. How does he get out then? And I guess easily is the question of that. Is a little bit of rocket damage on the way out.
Yeah. So like just strafing the way out. Quite difficult to hit. You know, very tricky champion. cypher blitzing his way through. Nice flick rail from dramiS. He's got cypher trapped down below, but he also knows he's vulnerable himself. He gets pinned up there with the LG, and cypher's done huge damage with absolutely nothing to his name. dramiS is even vulnerable, and the pineapple lingering does finish off his opponent.
Does get a rail off the spawn, so dramiS has to be careful, gets another one, but the direct rocket into rail. dramiS almost turns that around, but cypher 7 HP, able to tie it up at 1, and that was just such a burst of action then.
Yeah, but it was just after the items pick up as well, so cypher still lingering with not a lot of health. He's going to beat him down in the corridor, the spit as well. Huge damage coming out from cypher. dramiS has to get away, and he's still ticking himself down. There's no health because cypher has taken it away. And he brings it back to a 2-1. Very quick turnaround. dramiS already in position to defend this mega. cypher going to have to respect that. He knows that dramiS hasn't got a rail, and that's why he's sticking around just to hit that lovely flick.
And I love the decision from cypher. Once he got all that spit, a little bit of rocket damage and rail, he just decided to hug the churro and say, the spit is going to take him out. I don't have to expose myself potentially to a frag. So yeah, he's able to have this frag lead. Oh, dodging rockets. That could have been right in Sorlag's snout there. As he's waiting on this heavy, it looks like dramiS is going to respect it as he makes his way over to the mega, and cypher can just kind of play a little bit more passive and stack back up off health bubbles now.
Can indeed. dramiS is looking more than healthy, but no armor to work with. He's waiting around for this light, and there it is. The items are more or less on the same time, so it's tricky to control both at this point in time. cypher setting up quite early here for the mega. dramiS not in the vicinity as he decides to back off and pick up some weapons and reset for the next round of items. Using the information down below just to get up nice and early for this mega. cypher in the vicinity once again with the spit, but the pineapple and the rocket is huge, forcing cypher to retreat. Somehow he clips the shoulder blade of Keel. His broad shoulders, functional, but also wow, lovely rail from dramiS, and he's keeping himself in this game.
I really thought cypher was going to be the initiator for that damage, but he just grabs the files. That gives him away, and dramiS is able to hit a rail, but not that time after a lot of LG. cypher able to use the LG of his own and take him down.
But what you're seeing in this matchup, 40, is the difficulty that Keel has playing the map, because cypher's tempo is so high. Wherever dramiS goes, he's getting caught out. The only way to make a big success of Keel is to try and get a stack, slow it down, control the mid to high ground. As soon as you move out to those corridor areas, the side areas, you can see cypher striding around the map, cutting across every single choke point. And there's nothing Keel can do. He's got no speed, and that's why people like Rafa play it so well, because they use lots of rocket jumps and other capabilities to keep the tempo high on a Keel. And that's what dramiS needs to find a way to do.
Unfortunately for him, he won't have the tempo that he needs to try and break through onto the mega. Instead, he'll get pushed down after he goes out the window, and just cypher with the positioning. Has the right weapon out, makes the job easy. There's more acid spit onto the LG. dramiS, I don't even think he picked up an LG on that one as he's ticking down from the spit. Barely gets away. But for how long? 50 HP, and right behind him, there's a dinosaur, and again gets melted. Can't even steal away the heavy.
And dramiS is trying to force the initiative, but cypher is more than prepared for every single encounter, so it's really difficult. Really difficult.
Great rail there from cypher, almost hits the fadeaway as dramiS pushing the issue and actually stringing together some nice rails. Maybe could take it, but no, the vertical rail from cypher. Those are not easy to hit. Makes it look so easy. 7-2. He's going to be able to grab this heavy as well. It's perfect timing on that dodge for that rocket, and dramiS is just in a bad way. He's got to dig deep and figure out how to get out of here with 5 minutes left.
Yeah, but he has a stack advantage, but you can see how careful he is. He's so cautious because he knows This is what can happen. cypher just appears and hits 100% LG. He's even going to go up the jump pad and finishes off his opponent. Shouldn't last for long now. He's got no health and armor to work with, so he decides to just back on through, reset, get the mid to high ground away from dramiS. dramiS is in a world of pain. 8 to 240.
Oh, man. Just a lot more damage coming in into the shotgun. Good rail, but the pineapple's just not connecting. I think we've only seen one pineapple frag from dramiS. Not a lot of damage to follow it, and that essentially just makes Keel one giant barn that you can just hit. Very slow, big hitbox, and this is just so difficult to deal with a soar lag like that.
Absolutely. It's all about the tempo, and cypher's kept on top of it. He's maintained control of the items. His aim has been on point. As you said, Keel's utility has been absolutely nullified.
Nice little rails here from dramiS, picking away, playing the telly game. Can he turn it into a frag? And he does. So not bad from dramiS. He still has a lot of work, but that's definitely a start.
That's all you can ask for, but he charges straight back into a cypher rail, slowly creeping his way around to regroup with this mega. cypher's going to continue to pressure on this heavy, and dramiS might not even be able to make a move. He's going to have to, though. He needs to take more and more risks. Big rocket! But the LG just doesn't connect.
Good rail there to convert that one. Tried to push him off with the LG, but well done to make sure he doesn't steal away that heavy as he dies. And cypher, just a bit of a flick rail, it looked like. Just tagging dramiS for some damage, making sure that he stays relatively low and doesn't get too much momentum going, although dramiS is starting to chain them together. Does have the mega at his disposal with a decent split between the heavy as well, but can he attack from the upper platform here into rockets, sending cypher packing, but 68 HP? Oh, wow, the odds of that, Dan. cypher explodes himself off of Keel's face. The armor's just a little bit too strong.
But as we know, in a heavy versus heavy, it's very difficult to string together frags because your opponent spawns with so much health and armor. Couple that with a soar lag, you have the spit and you have the speed to get back in positions early enough to pressure. It's really, can't stress it enough, it's really difficult for dramiS, and you can see the desperation from cypher to keep that pressure high. And he's regrouped now just as dramiS enters the room, and I think the chances at this point are slim to none as cypher comes flying on through. He knows what time the mega is as well, so doesn't even need to overextend. He can just reset, take away the items, and leave dramiS with nothing.
cypher again getting another mega. dramiS needs nothing, but this isn't it. He's just a lot of damage, almost gets thrown out the window and has to ride the rocket trying to jump back in. cypher takes another one up, 6 with 2 minutes left. And another great rail, just keeping dramiS low, forcing him into these crazy kind of all-ins, and somehow dramiS actually makes it work. 30 HP, can he get this frag? Both players weak! Nice. dramiS threads the needle, just waiting at the base of the jump pad.
Question is, can he get the heavy? He needs it. He needs to stop cypher getting it, but cypher once again is in the vicinity. Actually backs on through and lets dramiS get away with this one. So knowing now time is on his side, but oh no, I made a mistake. He was just resetting to the high ground because he knows he's got the speed. He steals it away, and he's actually got dramiS a little bit cornered here. He just actually allows dramiS out in exchange for taking away the map and getting high ground for this next mega. Lovely rail though.
Oh, that's going to be a whole face full of spit. dramiS trying to make it count, but just can't. 3 HP, cypher survives and grabs the mega. Minute 5 left, up 6, and it looks like cypher might be able to cruise to victory on this map number 1, but you can't help but feel like dramiS hits a couple more pineapples, positions a little bit better. I mean, it was close. We've seen cypher so close to death's door multiple times, and what did it come down to, Dan? Was it positioning? Was it just pure damage? Was the mechanics of cypher too strong?
All of the above. I think dramiS played very well, but a big part of it was just the way in which cypher played the champion. He had the matchup down to a T, and it was all about the speed. The way in which, particularly, that minute 3 to 5, I think it was, where every time dramiS tried to make a move onto mid-map, cypher was cutting him off in a choke point with the spit, with the rockets. And there was there was a few times maybe another pineapple would make a difference, but you know, you got a 6 frag difference here, and it was cypher's game from the off, so a big part of it was just the champions.
So 10 seconds away is the first one in the books. cypher does very well, and as you in chat predicted, I mean, A rough one for dramiS, a rough one. But, I mean, for those playing the home version, the dramiS fans, it was an EU server, if that makes you feel a little bit warm and fuzzy. Because you're like, oh, he's going to come out on the next server and come out swinging. Well, for his sake, he better, because Cypher's one map away from taking this series.
We'll have to see. It's going to be a very different setup now. We're moving into Blood Covenant with Athena on dramiS against the Anarchy of Cypher. I still favor the Anarchy. You got the speed once again. It's slightly easier to execute, but similarly to the Sparty on the Nyx, dramiS is going to have to control the diverge there in the mid ground between the two sides of the map perfectly. If he can't do that, I do think Cypher once again has the upper hand, and just the boost of that inject is so powerful.
Completely agree. As we take a look at the stats for map number 1. And if you're blinded by the light, too bad. Wake up. So map number 2, as you said, Blood Covenant, Athena versus Anarchy. You like the speed of the Anarchy. You don't like the speed of the Athena. Is it because it's purely just because of the inject, or mobility-wise?
It's partly the inject. It's partly the consistency of the speed, and the air control means you can just get out of situations really, really quickly. The grapple is obviously highly useful, but more situational. And ultimately, it's a slightly easier execution overall. Like I said, the Athena, when played perfectly, is definitely on par, but you have to play it at such a high level throughout the game.
Well, we will see shortly how it plays out. One thing that I do like to see from dramiS is trying to set the appropriate traps to kind of pop up Anarchy with a rocket and mitigate that speedy movement. But again, the worst case scenario is it's actually pretty hard to hit an Anarchy when you pop them up and they have that air control. And Cypher, again, just so good mechanically. It could be a pest even if you get a good pop rocket. Doesn't always mean you're going to convert depending on the weaponry you have out and the distance you're fighting at. So that's definitely something to look out for, is just that air strafe of Cypher on the Anarchy.
It's not also dramiS' style. He's somebody that prefers the hit scan weaponry in the mid to long range LG rails. That's more his game style, and that's hard against an Anarchy at the best of times. So we'll have to see. I agree that using the rockets and the choke points on this particular map, Blood Covenant, is a viable tactic, but it's difficult to execute once again.
We'll see. We'll see how many grapples come out if he can traverse vertically. Maybe we get into a position where dramiS has the lead and he just uses, the verticality of that Athena to keep the high ground, stay away from Anarchy completely. But after that showing from Cypher, I feel like he's just, I don't know, his movement, his mechanics are just chef's kiss.
But that's the key. That is the key, is to abuse the verticality and make sure you kite, almost kiting in some instances, and closing the gap in that aspect. But at the end of the day, it's all null and void. It comes out to execution, and the execution was good from dramiS in the previous game. It needs to be even better this time.
Well, let's see if he can execute a little bit better as we're live on map number 2 of the series between dramiS and Cypher. Cypher taking map number 1. dramiS looking to tie it up on Blood Covenant. Welcome back, Blood Covenant.
Sound like a very happy welcome back. As we do have this encounter here, and they come flying on through. Who's going to win this one? It's going to be Cypher with the inject, but he has to swap. He runs out of ammo. Inject was critical.
Brutal.
Still Cypher.
One 0 early as dramiS. Trying to get some weaponry here. Does have LG, does have a rail. Still lacking some rockets, as it looks like he's also chasing. Almost gets a good rail on the way towards the Mega, but no items up for a long time. He should prioritize maybe getting some rockets instead. Trying to make the tri-bolt work, trying to catch out Cypher. That's a good rail. Misses with the follow-up. The LG's going to push him and send him flying as he tries to hook back up and get a little bit of armor, but no dice.
Wow, that tracking was insane from Cypher. Hasn't even got a rail himself just yet. He's going to rocket jump up and get one now. Wouldn't have expected this kind of start. He's already controlling the whole map. dramiS is pushing up. Doesn't connect with the rockets he needs. A big one there, and has popped Cypher up this time, but the execution, as I said, it wasn't there.
It's hard. It's hard to swat that fly when he's in the air. And unfortunately for dramiS, he can't connect with the combo, and Cypher goes to 3-0 so early on in this one.
Even an NA server can't save dramiS. He's getting peppered down. Lovely use of the heavy machine gun. Sometimes underused in Quake Champions, but it does just melt opponents, particularly the lighter opponents.
Oh, and just too telegraphed. And Cypher, this is bad times right now. 2-0, 5 up Oh boy. Just like that, 2 chunks of shotgun. Able to just chew through light champions no matter what the stack. And cypher looks too comfortable. dramiS not as comfortable, and this could be a long 8 minutes of pain, Dan.
Well, this is what I was referring to, just how much more consistent the pressure is from Anarchy and how it's just easier to execute. Athena's mobility is great, but it's so dependent, obviously, on those grapples. With Anarchy, you could just fly around the map constantly, almost disorientating your opponents at times. And dramiS trying to get away, but he just cannot escape the pressure.
Oh no, gets caught out again. Just barely missing out on the rail, and a little bit of a tickle does it. 7-0, not even 3 minutes. Pain. Good rail though. This is an opening for dramiS. Needs to hit another one, and he does.
Nice.
cypher
Yeah, really
still
nice.
plants one on the way out, but dramiS able to get in on the heavy, get a frag. Can he stabilize from here though?
Hopefully. Most challenging time of a light champion's life is the respawn. Difficult to get a stack back, difficult to get weapons back. Cypher's done a good job of that. Got the key long range weapons that he needs. He's even confident to push on to this heavy. He knows the timing. He pops the inject as well, so he has decent rail. Should I say 2? But dramiS getting greedy, trying to convert with the rail. He just needed some machine gun. And that allows Cypher to fight another day.
Unfortunate lack of weapon switching there, and that could come back to haunt him, as that frag would have been big for dramiS. Already down by 6. cypher has the inject back up. Rail exchange, dramiS able to land again. Lots of rail battles here, and if dramiS is going to take those, he needs to be able to hit every shot. Going 50%, not too bad. Cypher's just running the items, so even after those rails and the inject, Cypher just has stack, and there's a good rail. There's the hook down. A little bit of misdirection, and he's able to clean up with the LG.
Nice. Continuing to stabilize, slowly getting his way back into the game. Only plus side of the situation dramiS is in is that he gave away all those frags very early, which allows him plenty of time to get back into this game.
Another great rail there. Cypher getting caught out and actually can't even pick up the heavy. And dramiS starting to heat up, and Cypher needs to be careful not to just give away those free ones.
Definitely slightly sloppy from Cypher there. Maybe it's a bit of a wake-up call now, you know. Sometimes you can take your foot off the gas when you're so far in the lead, but Cypher will be respecting the position of dramiS now, the way he's been playing. Good use of the grapple up the jump pad, but it's not enough. He does exchange, but that's definitely not the best for dramiS, particularly now he gets the worst of the spawns. He comes flying across. He's out of grapples though, doesn't make the jump across.
Oh, it's such a beautiful play from Cypher. Then baiting dramiS, he swaps to rockets, immediately starts backing up, making the shot more difficult, all while just peppering with machine guns. Cypher's gonna go for a ride, almost makes it happen, 1 HP. dramiS is real quick to get on that Mega. Good LG there, up the jump pad he goes, wants to chase, but now wants to try and reposition, try and catch Cypher off guard here, as he does concede the heavy based on that. He's crazy. He just goes into the rockets, somehow avoids all the damage. A little bit of tri-bolt as well, and Dan, it's all topsy-turvy right now.
Yep, he took a bit of a risk there this time. Will it pay off? Oh no, he's took too much damage. It really isn't in the time of the game where he needs to be making such pushes. Cypher potentially counting his blessings there that he got away and has managed to stabilize. He's also back in pole position in terms of stack, got both items on lockdown, so that means dramiS is very weak. Also, don't think dramiS has a rail, and Cypher will be able to abuse that fact. He knows he's got one now, he hears him go across. dramiS reading him through the TP, but the rockets are not good. He does get away, but look how low he is, 40.
Ooh, makes it painful.
What?
I think the inject's saving Cypher's life, but he's able to double back onto the Mega, and that's fine for Cypher. That's exactly how you use the inject. You take the fight.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say that. Look how disciplined he was to use that inject. You would have thought Athena on like 5 HP or whatever he was. Let's just finish him off and save it. But Cypher with the discipline to make sure he was not going to give anything up. That was really key.
Really key in D is the rails again coming out from cypher. Excuse me, onto cypher from dramiS are great, but cypher just keeps cycling the items, so in the end it doesn't even matter. Another great rail after the fact, so dramiS needs more of that. Down by 5, time is ticking on a map like this against an Anarchy. It's going to be harder to chase. Granted, the Athena does have the speed boost, but still, I mean, it's cypher at the end of the day.
Exactly. And now we're in the territory where a few minutes ago he didn't have to take risks, but the scorelines diverge once again. Time is ticking away and just forcing his way up, but I don't even know if he has timing, and cypher is just, he will take that all times of the day.
Just brutal LG now. Extending the lead to 6, potentially more here as dramiS just trying to make anything happen with a push in. Hook to shotgun, no conversion. There's the inject. cypher making a little bit of Lipton's right there on that heavy, and 2 minutes left. I feel like he could just kickflip his way to victory on this one.
Can't catch me now.
Oof, okay. A bit sloppy there from cypher this time, but yeah, you're right. At this point, it's impossible to come back, but you have to think, the scoreline difference is 7 frags. The scoreline was 7-0 after 90 seconds. So, if he didn't give away anywhere near as many of those frags at the start, it definitely would be a different ballgame, but he did. Cypher kept the pressure up, and he showcased why I was more confident in the Anarchy from the outset. Just speed is there the whole time, and it makes your life so much easier than trying to pull off Anarchy.
Yeah, it's just absolutely insane. Again, one of the missed conversions down by the pillars. It's so hard to hit Anarchy, even when you do get to pop them up. Nothing is free. The air control makes it so much of a pest, and just a little slap on the cheeks on the way out. dramiS is able to convert after going through the telly, but with a minute left, down 7. Looks like cypher's able to take the series here as dramiS tries to redirect, but just can't get around. Can't get away, they'll find him. cypher asserting dominance on Blood Covenant then.
But what I will say is, considering it's been such a long time since we've seen cypher play at least, his aim looks potentially even better than the last time we saw it, particularly as LG. It's been on point this series, so he's looking very sharp.
Not too bad at all. But a plasma, why not? As going into map number 3, we'll see if the trend kind of sustains itself here, and if dramiS is somehow able to take map number 3 away from cypher, preventing the hat trick. It is going to be Insomnia. Oh lord, those rockets. It's going to be Visor versus Ranger. dramiS is going to be on the Visor. cypher has the Ranger. And as we saw before, Ranger just very versatile, able to get that verticality on Insomnia, play that mid position where you could peek, do damage at the Mega, fall back on the Heavy. Proven to be just a very powerful position, but we'll see if dramiS has a little something in the tank to maybe cause an upset and take map number 3 here. But 2 goes straight into cypher's pocket. Just insane performance and unfortunate for dramiS.
Couldn't put it better. cypher's looking good, dramiS looking slightly rusty, if anything, particularly in the decision-making department early on, and couple that with some not massively lopsided, but lopsided champion picks, in my opinion. So dramiS backed himself into a corner, and cypher's exploited that.
Yeah, as we take a look at the stats for Blood Covenant, in terms of the champ picks for map number 3, again, it's going to be Visor Ranger. You prefer, I think we both kind of prefer the Ranger based on the Dire Orb, the positional play that comes out of it, as well as the burst damage. And Visor with the sight, maybe not as good, to be quite honest, on Insomnia. We'll see. I mean, we still haven't seen a lot of Insomnia. We've only seen it once so far this season. Brand new map in the pool. It's going to be interesting. Maybe there are some things that Visor can do that we didn't really think about, but overall, I mean, you tend to favor the Ranger based on the Dire Orb itself.
Yeah. And just want to point out on the stats from the scoreboard, complete different strategies employed by both. dramiS had 1.9 damage K with the rail, and cypher had 500, and cypher had 2k damage with the LG. So cypher's strategy was to close the gap, get in dramis's face, and that's hard to do against an Athena, but that's why the Anarchy was so key. And similarly here, I just like the Ranger from what we've seen already on Insomnia. I think it offers more versatility. The map itself requires that, I feel. So we'll have to see how dramis's plays on the Visor. Might be hard for him.
Should be interesting. And to your point of, the mid to close range fights, you actually saw dramiS kind of hook in towards that Anarchy, whether it be to try and get that little bit of that grapple damage. But that was pretty much a layup for cypher, which added to that LG damage, because he's just like, this is an easy bead for me. Like I'm already amazing with an LG tracking. If you're going to come straight at me, make it even easier, I'll take it. But that did play into it a little bit. Maybe it was frustration at a certain point. You kind of saw it happen halfway through where dramiS was just trying to hook in and get close, maybe get some rocket damage, maybe get a mutual. But cypher's just too strong. You can't get away with that against cypher.
Yeah, and it's one of those situations where it almost teases you into it, as you said. The Anakin might seem a little bit low. He's in your vicinity. He's like, I can close the gap. But as you said, you spend time getting there. Then you also potentially have an inject to fall back on. And worst comes to worst, he's even got the speed to get away from you. So it's a really difficult matchup for the Athena.
Indeed. So cypher puts the 2 in his pocket. Officially the series winner, but we still have a map 3 coming up again. Insomnia, we will get into that shortly. Can dramiS take map number 3 and kind of keep, based on everything that's going 2-1? Maybe, we'll see, but it looks like cypher might be the first one of the day to put up the hat trick. It's just so strong. But Insomnia, new map, don't know how much these players have practiced, so maybe dramiS has a little something up his sleeve. He's going to need it.
He's going to need to hit his rails, and he's done that probably slightly better than cypher across both maps so far. More rail damage, slightly higher percentages, and that's going to be the pivotal weapon if he's going to take this map away. I think quite similar to what we've seen in this map is that... Are you constipated? What's up?
No, well, constantly, but that's because of my poor diet. But 91% predicts cypher. No respect for dramiS. There's just no belief. But
I felt your pain for a second. I didn't know. I thought you were.
It's finally happening.
Yeah.
No, one day we'll see, maybe. And anyways, as you were saying, Dan, pardon me.
I can't remember that. You've taken
Fantastic.
me away.
I took your breath away. Yeah, sorry, we're waiting on some technical stuff to get into map number 3 here. As we will be there shortly, I promise, Chad. But yeah, that's I think the roughest prediction we've ever seen was like 98%. I forgot who it was, but it's bumped up a little bit. dramiS hit 10% on the predictions.
Rafa
12.
versus Sip was like 99-1.
I think that may have been it. There may have been another one where it was just like, this is just rude at this point. It's just disrespectful.
Yeah, that was kind of we need to disable the points.
Let's take down the predictions. Nobody needs to see that. That's not fair.
That's the point we haven't discussed because we haven't had his matchup today. Rafa will not be undefeated this league. That's my money bet.
Okay. That's a big money bet right off the bat, start of the season. But if you were implying that he'll have a harder time going undefeated because of the cross-world global play, I'd say that's pretty fair. But I think Rafa's shown that he could handle his own. But let's focus back up on here. Map number 3, I hear us loading into the game. Again, cypher versus dramiS. Can dramiS try and get a third map? It's going to be Insomnia, a little bit different. Maybe, if anything, cypher hasn't played it a lot yet. Gives him the edge, but again, Ranger versus Visor, we go with a Dire Orb, the burst damage, the ability to just steal items, as we saw Razy do so well earlier, and just get to positions that are so crucial on this map. We will see map number 3 between these two. cypher working on the first hat trick of the season, and we are live right now with Insomnia. Starting out on cypher, on that Ranger, and right off the bat, the Dire Orb chase down here. Good rails from dramiS. Can he do it? Woo-hoo. Okay, that's one way to start.
Well, that's what he needed, for sure. But the cypher still pushing in. He's actually a little bit trapped, but no! Okay.
Almost got away, but cypher says not so fast. Those infamous rockets from cypher. He clutched that one out, tied at 1, and dramiS absolutely not able to get any momentum, and he loses the heavy. And cypher's like, I can rail too, if that's how you want to do it.
Yeah, cypher looking good so far. dramiS taking the high ground positions. It's where he's going to have to live if he's going to be taking this one away. He can't afford to get any sort of man fights. Has to play strategical, otherwise that's what happens. Even though you hit 2-3 rails in a row, you just get blown up. With the orb being down, he feels more confident now to push out on the map, which is why we see him coming on through, but cypher's ready for it. Even though he's caught in the choke point, he's not going down without a fight.
Somehow, decent damage, even though it's chippy. dramiS is low and just prevents him from peeking over. Does try and get that rail, 19 HP cypher. Oh, and he goes down. The shotgun coming up big for dramiS there, as he did use the vision. Great rail, almost gets a follow-up here. Needs to be very careful here. Makes his way to the heavy, but there's cypher, and the cutoff in the rockets, just pixel perfect, exactly what he needed.
And that's been the oh my god. That's been the story of the series, really. And it's kind of a reflection that cypher's playing at a slightly higher level. His brain is working faster than dramiS. The way in which he makes the game look so fast. dramiS cannot keep up with the tempo cypher's setting, and that all comes down to decision making. He's making decisions quicker and faster. All these micro decisions are adding up, coupled with the champions he's choosing. And you can see on dramis's pop how he's looking. He's looking desperate because cypher's just all over him.
It's just brutal. dramiS just looking for any kind of rockets. There's
Nice,
a good frag right there, but still 2 frags down, doing a good job of getting this frag back. Oh, and there's the Dire Orb! Almost steals the Mega, but luckily for dramisS, it's just big damage. Good rail as well. He should be able to convert, and he does. So cypher just mistiming that steal on the Mega, and it could cost him big.
Yeah, there we go. Mistiming from cypher and opens the door wide for dramisS. Piercing sight comes out. Will he catch cypher coming through? He does. It's good use of it, and the second rail as well. The cypher was too far extended. Got enough health and armor to defend this choke point. This is risky from dramisS, but he's so desperate. cypher gets clipped and levitated.
Oh, in the air rocket from dramisS. Real nice, but can he convert? cypher somehow turns it around. Oh, cypher. Just cypher things. Oh my god. Oh my god!
Close the gap as well. He's getting a rail though, so he has to be careful. But he knows dramisS only has a rail to his name, and that's all dramisS needs. Wow, this is a bloodbath on Insomnia.
Absolutely love it. 7-7, 3:30 in, more. Pile it on. As dramisS, good job making sure it doesn't get too out of control here. cypher just knows. Oh. The rocket's so good. The rocket spam getting a lot of damage. Oh, but dramisS has rocket spam of his own. Here's the armor pickup. More rocket damage as well, as both players extremely weak. dramisS looking for this rail on the way out, just missing it. cypher able to escape. dramisS taking the jump pad, fakes it. The rocket jump from cypher. Again, using that passive really well. Even the Dire Orb to grab that Mega, and 2 rails from dramisS will miss. And this might be curtains here. dramisS is so weak, and he just keeps fighting, and there's the rail. cypher plants him.
Yeah, cypher's making more of a conscious effort to control the high ground. You can hear it with the rocket jumps. He's using the orb to get up there. It gives you much more stability in the map. It's a far more. It's the safest position of it, is that you always want to be on the high ground where possible. Now dramisS is back up here. He hasn't got the piercing sight though, and he actually misses that, which will cost him any pressure onto this Mega. Try ball from down below. Somehow cypher just dances past all of it, making dramis's life an absolute nightmare from that ledge with the shotgun. The boomstick takes him down up 2. dramisS spawns, barely gets in on the heavy, and goes down again. And the Dire Orb, a little bit of insurance there, but now dramisS should know that the Dire Orb's down and he's done decent damage, but can he find cypher? Yeah, but the piercing sight was also used in the previous engagements. That stuff as well. dramisS does pick up the item though, but look, he's only got this rocket. Not able to connect with anything. But he does get out with his life and with a good enough stack to contest for this next heavy. cypher's very early. He's hoping that dramisS is going to be late. Looks like dramisS is, as he's clipping walls once again, and that clip does mean he's not able to do any damage whatsoever. Hasn't got the rail either. So cypher makes the right decision in the end. Distraction orb, just delaying dramis's advances.
Get that Mega. Very hard fought, and just like that, cypher peeks, takes a little bit of damage out. Oh, that rocket almost caught him right in the chest. 10-7 here as dramisS trying to mount a comeback. He's got about 4 minutes remaining, and he'll have vision up shortly. Heavy goes to cypher. And at this point, what do you do, Dan? You start playing a little bit slower and maybe just, as you said, high ground, keep middle ground. Oh, but you're eating rockets. What do you do?
What do you do with cypher, you mean?
Oh, no, that's dramisS. To try and come back into this, do you just... I would say play a little slower and catch out cypher, but, I mean, at this point...
yeah, you have to work methodically to get position. You have to get control back. At the moment, he's got neither. Hasn't got items, hasn't got position. cypher's making his life a misery because every time he does any sort of damage, he gets in his face with the orb. And he's actually not even really dramisS getting much use of that rail, so it's really well played by cypher. And he just distraction, just
Lord.
5D.
And it was beautiful. And oh, the float back, okay. Not bad. Unfortunately for dramiS, doesn't quite get the frag like cypher did, but there it is on the double back. dramiS able to convert that one. Still down 5. 3 minutes remaining. But cypher just looks a little stronger. The rocket predictions are great. Oh my god.
Okay.
Use of the rocket jumps using that passive, the LG, the weapon switch, and dramiS does convert on a big frag there. Mega does spawn, and dramiS is able to get back, and he should be able to get another one as dramiS can't land the rocket, but the rail flick! Woo! Flick of the wrist in.
Yes, straight into the piercing cypher, and he doesn't have connect with the rail, and cypher decides not to go in, but he just baits out dramiS once again, and the full use of the skill set of the Ranger's been defining on this map. We've seen the piercing sight to little effect. Once again, it shows why I'm not the biggest fan of Visor. So there's obviously a reason there, but it's not showed itself today. And with 2 minutes to go, dramiS has to make these type of moves, and cypher's more than ready for them.
Oof. cypher just waiting patiently with that boomstick again. And I mean, one thing you gotta love is the fact that this is a new map. The meta is going to evolve over time through the season, and you can't wait to see what champs people bring out in strategies. And cypher again just laying it on. Great orb play there to try and secure both items. He's gonna be able to cut off. dramiS needs to be careful. He's gonna take the jump pad, and that's just free damage. cypher will take those all day.
But I'm sure everyone in chat will agree that this has been a fun map to watch on week 1. And as you said, things will evolve. People will pick champions that are more evenly matched, and the tempo of the game will slow down. Very similar to how we saw Deep Embrace. The first few weeks we saw like 30-0 score lines, and by the end of the season it was going towards like 2-0. So it will slow down as people understand the best strategies, but let's just enjoy the chaos while it lasts.
cypher gets caught off guard just barely, but somehow the LG is just so strong. He gives him a head start with the LG, somehow converts. dramiS goes down and might go down again off the spawn. More LG, so much shaft.
His LG has been incredible this series, so I feel for dramiS. I feel the pain.
And now, you take a look at the scoreboard real quick. 47% LG for dramiS, 48 for cypher, but cypher's hitting and shooting twice as much. So just more use of the shaft and just putting the beat on him just as much, and that's brutal. And again, dramiS now just has to do Hail Marys. And with a boomstick in the air, just waiting, it converts to 20-11, and we have our first hat trick of the season then.
Yeah, and well deserved. cypher's been looking phenomenal all series long. The thing I've enjoyed most about it is just the tempo he's set. He's playing incredibly quickly, incredibly aggressive, but so calculated as well. It's been a joy to watch.
And I think we've talked about it before where, you have a player like cypher who has just insane mechanics. They could go balls to the wall and just use their pure mechanics, but you couple that with the ability to play positional in ABC games, and it's just so hard to overcome that, because now you're out trying to outplay position and those mechanics. Nightmare. Absolute nightmare. cypher puts a stamp on it, 3-0 to take the series. First hat trick of the season. And it's always a pleasure to watch Insomnia. I know it's only been twice today, but hopefully we'll have more of that to come.
Sure we will. It's an enjoyable map, and it looks enjoyable to play. And this is the problem if you let cypher get into his rhythm. cypher said it himself. He's a rhythm-based player, confidence-based player. I think even Rafa said it. When he finds that groove and gets into that rotation, he's probably the hardest player in the world to break. So unfortunately for dramiS, he found that out multiple times on each one of these maps. When cypher gets into that routine, he understands the rotation, he can just read you. That's why he makes the game look so fast and so easy.
Yeah, it really is just a work of art watching cypher play Quake. And it just put it on display today. 3-0, wonderfully done here. dramiS, he hit some great combos, don't get me wrong, but the play from cypher was just too solid, too strong. The refrags were too strong, and just everything about cypher. It's just cypher, cypher, cypher. That's really all you can say sometimes. So it's good to see him on form. Hopefully, if you're a dramiS fan, you hope that he cleans up some of the play. Maybe again the picks will evolve on this map, and maybe he figures out a better pick or counter pick to the Ranger, because the Ranger has reigned supreme on Insomnia. That's the one thing that we could take away from today so far, for sure.
Yeah, small sample size, but there's a reason it's picked. And the Ranger's just, he has that tool set that you can pick him on any map, and he will be viable. He will be good. And particularly if you don't have a lot of experience on a particular map, it's probably the safest bet because you can execute it inside out, you know it perfectly. So I expect to see it a lot until people find what's working for them. And the visor is always going to struggle against someone that's got any sort of movement capabilities against such tempo, and you have to be an expert on a map to perfect the visor. So I wasn't confident in that, and unfortunately we saw why.
And I don't know if you got a peek at the scoreboard, Dan, but it was much similar to Blood Covenant, where cypher was hitting about 2k damage, 50% LG, in comparison to dramiS's, I believe, 600, 700 damage maybe with the LG. Just absolutely brutal. Again, when you're playing against someone that's playing so positionally sound and they're hitting like a dump truck, it just takes all the effort in the world to try and overcome that.
Yeah, that level of difference indicates consistently being caught off guard, because the LG has a consistent output, right? You can go mano a mano and pretty much tie damage and it should be fairly even. So to have that level of difference shows much better weapon usage and just better positioning to continually catch your opponent off guard.
Just insane. I think we saw one LG fight in kind of that main room where you have the Mega and everything. dramiS actually got the beat on him first. cypher just turns it around, wins it with 6 HP, and just that's the kind of stuff where you're like, I should win that fight, but you don't, and then it's just a cypher show from there. But that'll tie us off for the third series of the day. We're going to take a quick break. When we return, we're going to see Zanaku and Shane. But we're going to take a quick break and be right back. So don't go anywhere. More Quake on the way. Season 3 is officially here. So get a drink, grab some food, and we'll see you in a bit.